Hey guys, Duster Dan here signing on. Haven't been on here in a while. Figured I'd come on and give an update on my avocado trees. Looks like they survived the winter frost last year. This is my smaller Pinkerton. That's the larger native Southern California tree that's like a Pinkerton. Just slightly different fruit than this tree here, the smaller one, but you can see just how flush these are with growth now. All the foliage has come in there, and I don't think there are any of the older leaves on the tree. You can see none of the leaves are stressed. They're all beautiful and healthy, and there's all the last year's leaves down there on the ground. One of the persons commented on my trees, I think it was last year, about the leaves looking stressed and encouraging me to mulch them and not to overwater them. And you know the drill. If you've seen any of my videos, you know how I feel about watering. But the problem is what they were looking at as far as the leaves on my tree goes. What they were looking at were the 1.5-year old leaves. You can't judge a tree by 1.5-year old leaves. The only reason those stressed leaves, those older leaves, were still hanging on is because the tree was so healthy it neglected to shed those leaves when I did that video. So on this one, you see all the older leaves are shed and all the new leaves are there, and they are beautiful and thick. Alright, sorry for the distraction. My girls needed me for a minute and the train was blowing his horn, so there's no point in recording. Okay, so anyways, this is all the new growth. Looks beautiful, nice and healthy. And what I had to do is I had to top this several times, otherwise it gets too spindly because it's growing way too fast. And the reason why it's growing too fast is because it's getting a lot of water. So I've tied it up quite a bit and topped it quite a bit because I wanted to bush out and develop some strength before it gains the height. So this tree did really well. All the tops burned last year, and that's another reason, not burned, froze last year. They got frostburn or frostbite. So that's another reason why I clipped all the tops off here. I didn't get any fruit or blossoms up very high. I got them about the middle of the tree and lower. And so here are some of the fruit. It's about 1 inch tall, about 1 inch around. Got a couple more down in there. See those? And I got one on the other side. So that's a total of 4 on my 7-foot tall Pinkerton. Where is it? There it is, right down in there. Okay, so I got 4 of them on my 7-foot tall grafted nursery born Pinkerton. Last year on my big tree, the one I grew from a pit, I had 330 fruit. Now unfortunately at the end, or I'm sorry, the middle of last summer I was out of town and we had a storm front come through here with crazy weather on the radar, and it literally ripped the back half of this tree down. I lost 230 fruit off of this tree. Now like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it in this video or not, but I grew this tree from a pit, and this is the whole front half of the tree. The whole back half of the tree would have been all up in here and is now missing. Like I said, 330 fruit on this tree grown from a pit at 6 years old. So you can see a lot of the foliage is starting to come back here. Right here is where the first one ripped down from, broke off. And then here is where a second one was broken off from. This is twice now I've lost major branches. Also up in here, this one here was last year where it ripped down the whole half of the back half of the tree. Now I have loosened these straps to see if it will stay up on its own. I think it was about a year and a half ago, I put these straps on here because the tree was literally laying down and I had to pull it back up. So at that time I went ahead and strapped it, anchored it down into the soil, and I just wanted to loosen them up and see if it'll stand on its own now. It looks like the roots are more than reestablished and the tree is strong again. The only problem is this tree is leaning out this direction. There's a lot of weight on the front half of the tree. So I don't trust the wind. If you trust the wind, you're a better person than I am. I hate the wind and I don't trust it because I work on the roof all the time and I know how damaging it can be. So I'm not going to trust my tree to just mere roots around here. We get up to 70 miles an hour wind on occasion. And so I'm going to retighten these straps. I just wanted to check the root system and see if it was reestablished, and it appears to be. As far as if you're wondering about fruit on this tree, this year it has had several years, solid years of massive blooms. So at 4 years old it bloomed and dropped all the blossoms. At 5 years old it bloomed probably about 1,000 blossoms and held at least 50 fruit. And then last year at 6 years old, I guess it's 7 this year, but last year at 6 years old it blossomed a couple of thousand and actually held 330 fruit, give or take 5 or 10. So 330 fruit off of this tree last year, and now this year I think it's maybe got 2 or 3 way up top. So according to what I've heard from some experts, and I'll give them credit this time because they are right. According to some experts, a lot of times these trees, the fruit cycle is on and off. They'll have a big harvest one year and then a real sparse harvest the next year. And the following year they come back and they're really prolific once again. So I've been up there in the upper branches. I've seen a couple of decent sized avocados growing. I don't know if they're still up there or they will hold or not, but I'm not worried about it because I know how prolific this tree is. So anyways, that's my update on my avocado trees. Thanks for asking, thanks for your comments, and thanks for the likes and the subscriptions. I really appreciate it. And I got your back. I'm an avid avocado lover myself, and if you guys have any questions about how to manage or care for these trees, how to keep them hydrated, or just questions about grafting or anything else, I'll just give you my experience. Okay, I'm by no means a professional or an expert, but I have paid close attention over the years what works for me and what works on my trees. And mulch and fertilizer and low amounts of water do not work. It ends up burning the tips of the leaves. You can see my tips are not burnt. And ultimately I killed 5 or 6 avocado trees doing it the way the experts told me. No more. I'm done with that. So I water them plentifully. I put a berm around the water trough. I make sure the water doesn't run off so I conserve water, and that way it gets down to the roots. Right now in the spring, since we're about 75-80 degrees per day, I'm only watering these a couple of times a week, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I got this from the rainwater. I have a water reclamation system over here where the downspouts from my rain gutter come in here and refill my buckets, my rain barrels. These are 32 gallon, 1-inch spade bit, wood bit hole, and a 3/4 inch PVC tube pipe, thin wall, connects them. It's a watertight interference fit, and they all overflow into one another until they go in the last one and fill up all these buckets in a row from the rain runoff. So that's what I water my avocados with. As you can see, we're about empty for the season because it hasn't been raining a whole lot. And I put a spigot on down here. I just transfer the water into the last bucket, and then I turn this on and water my trees with it. So I've got more on the back side of the garage, but it's a lot harder to get to. So that might be a tip or an idea that you guys may want to pursue. It's just a good way to utilize the resources that God has given us to water and nourish our trees. and you may want to do it too. Alright, so that's about it. Hope you all have a blessed week ahead, and I hope you have benefited from my videos over the last few months and maybe even a couple years now. And I wish you all the best, and if you have any questions, like I said, just give a shout out and give, ask me. Maybe I'll know, maybe I won't, but I won't blow smoke. I promise you that. And I'll just tell you what my experiences have been and my successes and my failures with these trees. So once again, thanks for watching and have a blessed day. Duster Dan out.